How long does it take for a Shopify store to become successful? There is no straightforward answer to any of that. It depends on what you sell, it depends on how you sell it, it depends on the market, it depends on the economic status. So I opened my Shopify store in March 2023, and I did that because I was only selling on Etsy, and I knew that was a really bad thing to do, because if something happens to Etsy, maybe for some reason my shop gets shut down, my entire stock has gone and I have no way of selling my items. And so I spent about a month moving across something like 400 items onto my Shopify store. Luckily there is an integration process, so the basics of it were simple, but every single item that I wanted to list needed to be tweaked. So what I have now is, I still have my Etsy store, and I use that predominantly to sell the haberdashery items that I sell as part of my, almost like my business clearance. So I have lots of like packs of buttons and fabrics and things that I will never use, and I decided to open a haberdashery store, and I did that during COVID because everyone got really into crafting in 2020, and I basically raided my studio because I wasn't selling anything else. And that was a really successful and good way for me to be proactive during 2020. So now I predominantly keep all the haberdashery items on there. I also keep all my hand braided coasters on there, and I have, in the last couple of weeks, I have listed a small number of my garments again, because I've been letting all those listings deactivate, just expire and deactivate, because it didn't seem worth listing things every 3 months for 20 cents and nothing happening. And I just paid all this money for a Shopify store. So when I started my store last March, I was paying monthly, and then at Christmas, when it was due for renewal, they were offering a deal, and it was something like 4 months free if you bought an entire year. So I did it. That means that I'm covered up until the end of this year. But it's taken time. So all that work I did in 2023 early on to get the store going, to get it listed, to get it found on Google, it took time. All these things take a lot of time, and I've been tweaking it as I've gone. I've added the link to my YouTube, because I definitely see traffic going from YouTube going to look at my shop. It's also linked to my business Instagram, to my Facebook business, and in various other places where I can put a link, basically, my Pinterest, things like that. But nothing happened in 2023. I didn't sell a single item. And I know that things take time, and I know that I started my shop in a really, really bad time. We are in a cost of living crisis. We are in an economic downturn, and I don't expect things to get particularly better within the next year. However, in January, I made my first sale, and I was really excited because it was a high value item. Unfortunately, the post office messed up the delivery. It didn't reach its customer in time, and I had to refund them. I was absolutely gutted, but it did prove that I had my shop set up properly, because finally I'd had a genuine sale come through and everything worked. And I thought, well, at least that works. And then a couple of months ago, I had 3 more items sell from the same person in 2 sales. And then suddenly, this Saturday when I'm recording this, 2 customers, one bought 3 items, one bought 4 items. And suddenly I feel that I've made a good decision, because what I'm now looking at, so I thought I'd have a look and see how my Etsy was doing this year compared to my Shopify. So my Etsy has continued to sell throughout all this time, but they're very low level sales, because most of the items that I have on there are haberdashery items. So I'll sell a pack of buttons for £4. I've got to take my postage and my fees out of that. So it's not really much of a profit margin. So I've had a look at my comparisons today for Shopify and Etsy. Etsy is winning on the number of items. However, Shopify is winning on the order value. I've made more money on Shopify than I have on Etsy. I would rather have 3 or 4 high value sales a month than 15 £4 sales. It's about the quality of the sale, not the quantity. So that means that from a business perspective, Shopify is now winning. And I'm really pleased about that. It hasn't covered its bills yet, but I'm okay with that. So it's taken me... It took me 9 months to get my first sale on Shopify. And this year, being my second year, is the year when I'm seeing more sales. I wouldn't say it's consistent. I'm certainly not going to be able to buy a vacation off it. But I am seeing an uptick. I'm seeing more traffic. And I think that having it linked particularly to YouTube is incredibly useful. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody on social media and on YouTube, for instance, who has then gone to the store and had a look. It helps it be found. I'm on Google Shopping now, so that's really helpful. And it just means that my business is getting out there. And for those of you that did buy things, thank you so much. It's invaluable, because I have let my business kind of go to sleep over the last year or so, because it's just so hard. It's so difficult trying to sell wants when people just require needs. At the moment, it's keeping a roof over your head, it's food on the table, it's clothes for the kids, it's petrol in the car. People do not have the spare money for luxury wants, and I understand that, and that's why I have let the business just trickle along as it is. It's full of stuff. There's lots of fun stuff in there if you want to go and have a look. Links are in my channel. But I haven't pushed it, because I certainly don't want to force people to buy things they don't need. I don't want people going into credit card debt and getting hooked on shopping when they should be just feeding the kids, or, you know, looking for the next job, that sort of thing. Instead, I have found myself lots of little side hustles, which means that my earnings are okay. I am earning more than I spend each month, which means I'm staying out of debt myself. And at the moment, this is the bottom line. Are you staying out of debt? Are you able to keep a roof over your head? That's the important thing. So we are having a success story this year. I hope it continues. And I've talked recently about how I'm now beginning to feel like I want to get back to it. I've had some time off. I've had a kind of a creative break. I haven't been making a lot, and it's like my brain just needed a bit of time off just to do the other things that I've been doing. I've been learning new skills, and that's been great because it's kept me busy and it's kept me motivated, because the result of doing all those things is that I've earned money. The problem when you are running a small business and you're marketing and you're advertising and you're telling everybody and you're putting new things in the store and nobody buys anything, is that at some point you have to say, is this worth the effort? Do I need to be doing this? And so I took a step back, because the climate at the moment is just so all over the place, and I thought, well, it's no wonder things are tough. Everyone's finding it tough. If I'm finding it tough and I'm a frugal lifestyler, then goodness knows what it's like for everyone else. And so I have allowed that to do its thing. My brain has kind of gone through a reset, and when I start to see sales come in, it kind of triggers something in me and makes me feel a little bit more enthusiastic, because I'm then, oh, I've seen a result from this. And I talked a little bit about motivation recently, and about how I'd watched a video where someone said, you don't get motivated to do something until you start doing it. And I thought about that, and I thought, I need to get back onto this, to work at it, to see the results, to create the motivation for me to keep going. But maybe having these 2 sales of multiple orders this weekend reminds me that it's worth doing, because that's given me a real buzz. I've spent this afternoon getting all the items together, packaging them, making the boxes look nice, sorting out the postage, and tomorrow morning I will go over and post them. Luckily, you don't have to rely on the post office anymore. We have lots of these locker boxes around where I am now, so I use a service called Parcel to Go, and I'm sending them via a locker box which is just over the road, so I can go over first thing in the morning and get those straight in the post. And the postage costs are cheaper at the moment, which means that those people haven't paid much for the postage. I try to keep the postage as low as possible, and I do that by reusing, upcycling, recycling all the packaging. I have people who donate packaging to me, boxes, paper, all sorts of things, and it enables me to then only charge for the physical postage. And although the postage is cheap at the moment, they're having discounts at Parcel to Go on the postage, and that means that the postage that my customers have paid is matching what I'm paying to have the parcels sent and signed for, and they're very small postage amounts, so that's been really good. That means I'm not out of pocket on that. It's just going to be looking at the fees, and constantly as things are changing I relook at how much people have spent, how much I've been charged in fees, and then any adjustments that need to be made to ensure that I'm still in profit, because there's no point in me selling stuff if I'm spending more than I'm making. Then that enables me to balance that up. So every time I get a sale, I just recheck to make sure that my postage is accurate, that the fees that Shopify is charging me still enables me to make money out of the items I've sold, because it's very, very easy to suddenly find that your outgoings on each sale means that you've got nothing left, and that's a pretty pointless exercise. So, and that's the other advantage of Shopify, is that the fees are less, because there are 7, 8, 9 different fees that go into a sale on Etsy now, and it's incredibly complicated and confusing, and sometimes you look at it and you realise you've made pence per order because it's just so much. So I do that as a little update. Saturday, it's nice and sunny here this afternoon, and it matches my mood, which is, yes, sales, fantastic.